Good afternoon and welcome inside the Cam Henderson Center. The number 23 Kentucky Wildcats invade Huntington, make the 2-hour trip east on I-64 to take on the 2-1 Marshall Thundering Herd off the 6-point loss to Indiana just a few days ago. Going to be a defensive battle today, and this is a Marshall team that so far this season, Marshall has seen its defensive pressure ratcheted up under Coach Julie Falks. This is a Marshall team top 25 in steals per game on the season, 15 per game, allowing just 50 points per game as well.
Yeah, this Marshall defense has been absolutely incredible this year. Just head coach Kenny Brooks of Kentucky Wildcats said Marshall likes to play muddy. You mentioned it, likes to play a muddy defense. I mean, just all over the place, forcing those turnovers, just causing havoc on the floor. So we'll see if this Marshall defense can keep up with a Kentucky Wildcat squad that is obviously tall, but very stout offensively, plays clean basketball. Can this Thundering Herd team, they caused havoc against Indiana, just fell short. If it wasn't for the shooting woes, Marshall possibly comes out of Indiana with a win in that one.
Talking with Julie Falks this week, she said, hey, we had the right plan. We did what we needed. We just need to knock down some of the open shots that we missed against Indiana, and we probably come away with a Big Ten victory. But on the other side for Kentucky today, how is Kentucky going to counter that? Well, it's got a point guard by the name of Toni Morgan, transfer from Georgia Tech, a Nancy Lieberman Point Guard of the Year preseason top 20 watch list, two-time All-ACC second team. She had 16 assists just a couple days ago in a win against USC Upstate. She's only averaging 2.5 turnovers per game and nearly 10 assists per game on the season. One of the best teams in the country in assist to turnover ratio. Toni Morgan is going to try and control the ball against this Marshall team that loves to muddy it up.
And then you look at Marshall on the opposite side. Blessing King doesn't get the start today for the Thundering Herd, but averaging 5.7 points per game. She's going to be really key off the bench for the Thundering Herd in terms of rebound. We talk about that height that the Kentucky Wildcats have. It's going to cause Marshall some issues. Blessing King has been really good at getting to the basket and getting those boards, getting those tough physical rebounds and boxing out. So she's going to be such a good key for Marshall today off the bench for the Thundering Herd. Let's
look at the head coaches in today's matchup. You get a look at Julie Falks on the left, the Marshall head coach, second season at the helm for Marshall, 417 and 164 in her career. Kenny Brooks on the right, 544 and 212, 24 years as a head coach. He has made the WNIT or the NCAA every single season since 2005-2006 when he was at James Madison. James Madison, Harrisonburg, of course, a Sun Belt Conference member. That is home, as Kenny Brooks said. Getting set for tip, Tiani Key, Trayshandra Williams in the center circle, and Kentucky will win the tip. Kentucky will move it around the perimeter to start it off, working into the far corner. Marshall loves to muddy it up defensively with this 2-3 meta. 2-3 meta zone is what Julie Falks describes it as, driving towards the bucket. Tiani Key, she goes up from the left block, gets fouled on the way, and she'll go to the line.
Trayshandra Williams, a little bit too much contact as Key goes up, tries to lay it in, so they'll get Trayshandra Williams early, and the Wildcats on the free throw line.
Tiani Key, just a 58% free throw shooter to start the season. First one up, tickles the twine. Preseason All-SEC second team. As you look, the hands come down from Trayshandra Williams. Key draws the foul. Transfer from North Carolina, knocks both in, and it's an early 2-0 lead for Kentucky, just 18 seconds in. Let's take a look at the starters for Marshall, brought to you by University Ford. Pretty similar for the most part to what we've seen this season. Lewis Utsi, Olsen, Ilderton, Williams, and Mayer. Of course, Olivia Olsen, one of the leading scorers for Marshall, 13 points per game early on in her freshman season. Lewis Utsi on the drive, throws it up off the back iron, ball bouncing around. Kentucky comes away with the board. Wildcats will run it forward, nearly a walk by Key on the left wing. Nothing called, and now the Wildcats will set it up. Take a look at the Kentucky starters. Kentucky big, 5'9", 6'1", 6'5", 6'4", and 6'5". Jordan Obi, Toni Morgan, Tiani Key, Clara Strack, who has a history against Marshall we'll talk about, as now Strack on the boards, gets a real tough board. Kentucky kicks it out top. Obi, open three, rattles around. Key comes down with the board, tries to throw it back up. Now Strack, she gets tied up inside, and a jump ball will be called. And it will be Marshall basketball.
You can tell already Marshall's having struggles underneath the basket going up against Clara Strack. I mean, that height, 6'5". Marshall really doesn't have anybody to match that besides Shoshana Williams, 6'2", and even she's struggling right now. Got to find a way to just get past her, box her out, get those boards.
Blessing King, we mentioned her in the pregame. Olsen, 3 straight on, off the back rim. Picked out of the air by Hassett. Kentucky running the floor, getting up and down pretty quickly. Marshall will play deep. Tried to throw down on the baseline to the Wildcats, and it's tipped away. It'll remain Kentucky basketball. Kentucky 23rd in the country. The Wildcats have won 4 straight against Marshall. 2020, 2017, 2004, and 2003. Kentucky last lost in Huntington in 1996. 29 years ago. Tony Morgan along the baseline, inbounds Tiani Key. Key misses, gets her own board. Again, just the ball bouncing around, and Key runs it down. 6-0 advantage right now for Kentucky on the boards. Ball nearly taken away from Morgan by Lewis Utsi. And now the ball out top for Strack, and she gets fouled by Peyton Ilderton. Clara Strack, a name Marshall fans are probably familiar with. As you see Ilderton trying to get the hand in there that time. Clara Strack, she subbed in for Elizabeth Kitley in 2023 in the NCAA tournament for Virginia Tech. That's where Strack started her career before Kenny Brooks left Virginia Tech and went to Lexington. Open 3 again from the corner for Obi. Strack in that game went 7 for 7 from the field against Marshall. And of course, a Virginia Tech win in that tournament. 5 on the shot clock, dumped down to Strack, blocked from behind. Key on the board, goes up and again doesn't catch iron. And a shot clock violation on the Wildcats.
It's going to be the one way that Marshall can cause that hustle for Kentucky right there. Just not allow any good looks for the Wildcats underneath the basket. Make it troublesome for Kentucky to get there to the rim. Right there causes a shot clock violation. Good job by Marshall. Starts with an early block by Meredith Mayer.
Marshall does play a 2-3 zone, but it's a little bit of a 2-3 meta zone is how it was described. Shot blocked that time by Hassett. The Kentucky team leads the country in shots blocked on the year. Driving baseline was Obi. She gets bumped on the way to the basket. That'll be the 3rd team foul on Marshall. Olsen, 5'10 freshman, matched up against the 6'4 Hassett. And wasn't able to get to the basket on the other end. And then Kentucky drawing the foul here on the offensive end. It's a Kentucky team that allowing its opponents to shoot just 29% on the year. There in the corner, hand held high as Kentucky works it around the perimeter. Now inside to Strack, tried to rotate in the corner, and Mayer deflects it away. It's a 2-3 meta zone is really what Julie Falks describes it as. So we've become really good at adapting this defense. It's not really a 2-3 zone, not really a 2-3 matchup. So the reason it works is when you have a pretty good rim protector, and you can also take away the threes. But what it does is eliminate scouts. So really, if you play a 2-3 zone, she said teams only run about the same 4 offensive sets, and your team gets used to defending those. 3 from the corner for the Wildcats, and Marshall pulls down its first rebound of the game. Ilderton up the floor for the Thundering Herd. Bounces to the top of the key to Nakia Chesterfield, who just came in for Treshondra Williams. Marshall will go 11 deep. Lewis Utsi inside, gets to the bucket, goes up, and ball bouncing around, falls to Lewis Utsi, who's sitting on the ground. Olsen on the right wing, tries to go inside for Chesterfield, deflected away by Kentucky. I think the size of Hassett that time influencing Olsen. 3 from the left, the right wing is up and in. Asia Boone knocks it in.
See Marshall collapsing the basket right there. Nobody on that outside on the wing. Good shot selection. Kentucky early 5-0 lead. Marshall's got to find some points here.
Marshall looking for his first bucket of the game. Handoff at the top of the key for King, driving inside. Now Marshall curling around. Top of the key for Lewis Utsi. Lewis Utsi loves the dribble drive, gets inside, draws the foul on the drive, and she'll go to the free throw line.
I think it's one of the things Marshall has to do is just be aggressive driving inside, especially against Clara Strack. Try to see if you can get her in foul trouble, get her out early. Makes things a little bit easier for Marshall, especially on the defensive side. You don't have to worry about that height, trying to box out and get the rebounds.
Bobby Iddings and Ben Westfall here from the Cam Henderson Center today, as Louis Utsi goes to the free throw line. Just a 55% shooter from the line early on this season. Free throw up and air ball. Now 6 for 12 from the line on the year is Louis Utsi. Marshall looking for its first points. Shot goes up and finds Klein. 5-1 Kentucky with the lead. 6:10 to go, and this allows Marshall to set up its press that has been so effective at times this year. The Herd forcing nearly 25 turnovers per game. Kentucky breaks it pretty easily. Morgan swings at left wing. Now Kentucky all the way into the corner. Another three is high in the air from Boone. And rebound deflected. It's ruled off of Marshall. And now the officials will change the call. DeMoya Pugh along the baseline originally said it was Kentucky ball, but Deanna Jackson came in. Quick discussion and awards the ball to Marshall.
It's the battle between Mayer and Strack, and last touch by Clara Strack. Good job by the officials to talk things over and get the right call.
Kentucky +5 on the boards right now against Marshall. Louis Utsi tries to go right around the screen. Now she'll get inside, goes up, right-handed shot, trying to get around the arms of Strack. And she affects the shot. Now Kentucky the other direction. Morgan inside, lays it off, and a block from behind that time by the Thundering Herd. Blessing King comes in and blocks Jordan Obi. Substitutions waiting at the center circle for Marshall. Blessing King on the drive, has a block from behind. Again, this Kentucky team, nearly 11 blocks per game on the year, leading the country. It was a team that led the country in blocks per game last year with 7. Strack, Hassett, and Key, nicknamed the triplets of the Venus flytrap. Kenny Brooks uses them interchangeably to describe his team. Corner pass for Mayer, tipped and taken away. Asia Boone all the way down, up and under move, and misses the layup. And on the rebound, it's off of Kentucky. And it'll be Marshall basketball. So we're going to take the under 5-minute break. Kentucky with the early 5-1 lead on Marshall. 4:41 to go in the first quarter. We'll be back with more Marshall women's basketball on ESPN+.
Guys, back here in the Cam Henderson Center, 19 years since Marshall last played host to a ranked opponent. That team being the Maryland Terrapins, who the year before that in 2006 were the national champions of Division I. Guys, here in the Cam Henderson Center, as I mentioned, a tough defensive battle down in the post so far. Back to you.
Thank you, Riley. Riley Burnett, the third member of our broadcast crew today. Bobby Iddings joined alongside by Ben Westfall as Marshall right now trailing by 4 early on, just 5-1, 4:43 to go in the first. But Ben, right now the two teams a combined 1 for 17 from the floor, and as Riley said, a defensive battle against two really defensive-minded teams as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Both teams have had their struggles inside the paint, just trying to get to the basket. A couple block shots on both sides. Marshall with 3, Kentucky with 2. Just both teams playing really great defensive basketball right now.
Wilson tries to go left around Boone, but great defense by the Liberty transfer. Marshall loves the dribble drive, and that's exactly what Kenny Brooks said as Timberland East gets inside and then throws it away, as it'll be a turnover for Marshall, its third. Kentucky's also turned it over twice in this one as well, so that Marshall defensive pressure continues to be really beneficial for the Herd. Strack inside, backing down on Williams, turning, right hand up and in. Just a skilled move that time by Strack as she goes down and is clutching the right ankle. She gets up and she's gonna limp just a bit. Definitely favoring that 6'5" frame on that ankle, and Tiani Key will check back in. Strack will go down to the end of the bench to get it worked on. So now Strack, in her career, she's missed 2 shots in this one. For her career, has been so successful against Marshall. I mentioned she was 7 for 7 in the NCAA tournament back in 2023 when she played for the Hokies. Left corner, Ilderton trying to get it down inside, and will for Treshandra Williams. Backing down on Key. Williams, right-handed hook shot off the right side of the iron, and Kentucky pulls down the board. Williams coming off a game with 8 points against Indiana. Kick to the right wing. Hassett, 3 is up, and Ilderton comes down with the board in the middle of the paint. Marshall quickly down the floor, but Kentucky, great job getting back defensively. Olsen takes the 3 and hits it. first field goal of the game for Marshall. Herd trails by just 3, 7-4, 3:15 to go in the first quarter.
So what Marshall's going to have to do, just find the outside, find the perimeter, something open. Olsen's a good start right now. Olsen right now, 36% for the three-point land this year for Marshall.
And now Olsen comes away with the steal. Under Herd trying to get within one now. Yeast goes deep inside. Great defense that time from Obi. And then Ilderton bumped Boone. And we call it a foul on Peyton Ilderton. That'll be her second.
I think right there for Timberland East, you want to slow that down a little bit, get your own pace. I know you want to go fast, but with Kentucky's height, it's going to be very tough for that one-on-one matchup. 8 times out of 10, you're going to get that shot blocked. East 5'9", OB 6'1".
Cassie Ingram comes in for the Herd as Ilderton picks up that second foul. Ingram lucky not to get a foul call that time. Looked like she caught the face of Obi trying to play defense. Helter-skelter Marshall defense right now, forcing Kentucky into 3 early turnovers. Tiani Key pops it out top for Obi. Kentucky gonna work it around the perimeter. Kentucky wants to get in the painted area. Marshall doing a pretty good job thus far in this one, keeping them out of the paint. Right wing Obi, she steps around Ingram, puts it up, and it looked like a shot clock violation. Nonetheless, shots missed, and Marshall will go back on offense. Herd can tie it on this possession with a 3. Marshall just 1 for 9 from the floor so far, but Kentucky just 2 for 13. Neither team really able to find its rhythm offensively. Olsen dribbles inside, nearly loses it. And the ball will be run down by Williams near midcourt. Williams needs some help, and now Tiani Key will be called for the foul. Williams had Mayer right beside her, but I think she thought the defensive pressure was a little bit closer than it was.
And Tiani Key had great pressure right there. You see the hands reaching a little bit, but Tiani Key, great defensive play, but again, a little bit too handsy. Close official is going to call that, whistle that in. Kentucky's played clean so far, though. Just the second team foul in this first quarter.
Just under 2 minutes to play here in the first quarter of action. 7-4 Kentucky with the lead on Marshall. Mayer dribble drive around the top. Now Olsen, another 3 from the left wing. Off the iron and falls down into the hands of Kaylin Carroll, who just came in. Carroll, just a freshman, 6'3" forward. And now it's turned over by the Wildcats. Ingram coming the other way, has some help, tries to throw it to the left wing. Lewis Utsi had a trailer, and Amelia Hassett is able to run it down. Both teams trading turnovers. Now down inside for Tiani Key, and Key up and in. Gets around King, who tried to step in front.
Good recovery there from the Wildcats. Just get down underneath the basket. Good job by Key. Nice spin move to get around Blessing King. Have some advantage. Takes it to the rim.
Lewis Utsi drives inside. Lewis Utsi trying to go to the bucket. A reach-in foul, I think, on, Tony Morgan. So Morgan picks up her first foul.
It's a good foul for the Wildcats, too, because Tiana Key was also in that range of the play. And so if that's on Key, that would be her second.
Marshall right now just trying to drive to the basket. Maya Lewis Utsi, that's exactly the type of player that Julie Falk said she wanted when they went out and recruited her. They want her to attack the basket. She said, look, as well as she's attacked the basket early in the year, we think she can attack even harder and be a more aggressive player. Dribble handoff that time. Mayer loses it off the left hand and rolls through the 5-hole of Meredith Mayer. Or excuse me, of Lewis Utsi. That's 5 turnovers now for the Herd here in the first quarter. 4 for Kentucky. Tony Morgan gets it across midcourt. Morgan with 2 assists in this one after 16 on Wednesday against USC Upstate. Right point 3 goes up and comes down and went off the foot, went off the leg. Looks like a kick ball to be called on Marshall. As Carroll put up her first shot of the game. Carroll, big-time recruit, ranks the 15th best player in the nation. She received an invite to the 2024 USA Basketball Women's Under-18 National Team Trials. See her on the ball right now as Marshall nearly poked it away. There's Carroll, takes a shot from the right wing and off the iron, and King comes down with the board. That's her first of the game. She averages nearly 9 per game for Marshall. One of the better rebounders for this Marshall team as the Herd will hold for the final shot of the quarter. Marshall's going to try and get it within a possession here to go to the next quarter. Down to 11 seconds. Lewis Utsi pretty much in front of the Kentucky bench. Down to 5, goes right around the screen, down inside. Lewis Utsi on the drive, and banks it home. And that's gonna bring it in for the first quarter. Marshall and Kentucky battling, just 5 field goals made across the two sides. And just a 3-point lead for Kentucky as we head to the second quarter of action. Tamaya Lewis Utsi driving inside. Her and Olivia Olsen both with 3 apiece to pace Marshall. We'll be back with more on ESPN+. I'm the head coach of the University of Kentucky. He wants his program to be defined by player development, but also his pillars, his 3 pillars we talked yesterday: energy, effort, and a good attitude. You can have a bad day. He said you can always control your energy, your effort, and your attitude. 3 different stops along his career. He's been highly successful at all 3. 337 and 122 at James Madison, 180 and 82 at Virginia Tech. And then, of course, in his second season at the helm for Kentucky, 27 and 8 with the Wildcats. He left James Madison at the end of the 2016 season. Was at Virginia Tech till the end of that 2023 season. As you get a look at Jordan Obi, the Penn transfer, sat out the season last year with a leg injury. 3-time All-Ivy League for the Quakers. She scored over 1,100 points in 3 seasons for Penn. Native of Hartford, Connecticut. Kentucky tries to swing it to the wing, and now the Wildcats down inside, ball up in the air, and a foul's going to be called as Obi tries to go up strong, and a foul gets called on Marshall.
I tell you, Bobby, good news for Kentucky. Claire Strack back out there on the floor. It's good to see if you're a Wildcat fan as well.
Treshondra Williams picks up the foul, her second. Yeah, you talk about Claire Strack, and Kenny Brooks had a player named Elizabeth Kitley at Virginia Tech, an All-American there with the Hokies in Blacksburg. Free throw up and in by Jordan Obi as she gets up on the board. Williams picked up the foul, and you see just kind of getting up on the feet that time. What allowed Obi to draw the foul as she rolls home the second one, and that'll extend the lead to 5, 11-6. But talking about Elizabeth Kitley, talked to Kenny Brooks. I said, hey, can Clara Strack be better than Elizabeth Kitley? He said, oh yeah. He said, I feel like I have more versatility with Clara Strack. She's just 19 as a junior. Inside goes Lewis Utsi, goes up, and an offensive foul is going to be called on the Thundering Herd as Leocha Marigny was trying to clear out that time for Lewis Utsi, and she'll pick up the foul. Her first foul. That's Marshall's tallest player at 6'3", Leocha Marigny. As you see her go in, just kind of bump Strack, and there's the foul. Marshall implements its press, ball poked away from behind. Meredith Merlot looking though. Strack goes to the bucket, throws it off the bottom of the backboard, goes down hard. Now Marshall moving the other direction. Hurd has not been able really to get out in transition quite yet. Lewis Utsi bounce pass to the left wing for Timberland Yeast. Yeast right wing Mayer. Mayer dribbling inside on Hassett. Tries to go up strong, a wild left-handed shot, but she pulls down her own rebound. Shot clock does not reset. 8 on the shot clock now. Lewis Utsi, foul line jumper off the left side, and Kentucky gets the board. It's a good idea on that jump shot. If you can't get to the rim against these trees for Kentucky, try and take that short-range jumper that no one seems to take anymore. Kentucky saves it in. Now the Herd takes it away. Timberland Yeast on the drive, puts it up and in.
Kentucky a little out storage, trying to save that ball. Wild pass across the floor. That ball hung up there forever. Timberland Yeast getting just like a safety in football. Poked it away. Got the deflection, got the turnover. An easy bucket for Marshall.
Officials blow it dead for a moment as the shot clock had not started. As you take a look, there's a great steal by Timberland Yeast. That's the 4th steal of the game for Marshall. Kentucky gets it into Asia Boone as she dribbles across the timeline. Left wing Morgan thought about a 3, steps inside, and Kentucky will work it around the perimeter. Marshall doing a good job defensively right now against Kentucky. Strack takes a little elbow jumper. She had a wide open lane. Probably took the harder route that time, but nonetheless knocks it in.
All right, 6'5", and when you have a wide open shot makes it a little too easy for Clara Strack. Easy bucket there.
Yeah, talked with Kenny Brooks. Just with the height that his team possesses, one of the tallest teams in the country. Olsen left wing, open 3, feet set, and it rolls off. And a rebound pulled down by Hassett. But I asked Kenny Brooks, said, how small do you feel in your locker room? He said, oh yeah, I'm pretty short. Dribbling inside goes Obi, and up against Marigny. She drives in, up off the glass, and she'll get the and one chance.
Great drive, had that outside lane, takes it, forces the foul as well. You see Marigny just coming down on that right wrist. Draws the contact, good foul there.
7-point lead for Kentucky now, as the Wildcats with 7 points already in this quarter, with just 9 in the first quarter.
If you're the Thundering Herd, points right here on this possession is dire a little bit because cannot fall behind to this really good Kentucky team. You had to find an open shot here.
Top of the key, Nakia Chesterfield, the transfer from Tusculum. She waits, hands off for Mayer. Mayer tries to drive inside on Key, instead kicks it to the corner for Olsen. Back inside Chesterfield. Chesterfield dribbling and loses it. And it'll be Marshall basketball along the baseline with 6 on the shot clock. The last time Kenny Brooks coached against Marshall was in that 2023 NCAA tournament. His Hokie team controlled the second and third quarters, scoring 60 points in the second and third quarter. Right wing Lewis Utsi puts it up, and a shot clock violation before she could get the ball in the air. Turnover on Marshall. That'll be turnover number 7 on the Herd.
Kentucky's done a great job of just controlling inside the paint defensively, not allowing any sort of lane to open up for Marshall, and that causes trouble on the outside as well because Kentucky's closeout defense has played well as well. Marshall's just having a troublesome time finding that open look, open shot.
Kentucky quickly across the midcourt stripe. Now down inside to the painted area, has to kick it back out. They've got Marshall out of sorts defensively. Wide open 3, top of the key, missed, but Strack on the boards and just throws it back up and in. Clara Strack went down early, and this one was favoring her ankle, but it's come back with a vengeance. 6 points, 4 or 5 boards now for the All-American candidate. Just a junior out of New York. She's the all-time points leader at her high school back in New York for boys or girls. Ball off the iron, Blessing King down on the court as she wrestles with Strack, and the arrow gives the ball to Marshall.
This is probably what Marshall had against Indiana. Had a good look right there. Timberland Yeast, midcourt drive to the basket. Had a good look at it just off the back of the iron. For Marshall, you have to have those shots fall, especially against a good Kentucky team. Right now, 19% for the field for the Thundering Herd.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Julie Falks talked about, Ben. She said, we've got to knock down the open shot. We had our chances against Indiana. We just didn't knock down the open shot. We got to knock down the open 3, hit the open layup. If we do that, maybe it's a different game. Milderton right wing for Marshall, gets inside, kicks it to the left wing to King. King inside, goes up and in. Blessing King, a tough drive inside, and she gets her first bucket of this one. Marshall trims the Kentucky lead down to 18-10. Wildcats quickly across midcourt now. Kentucky doing a very good job with this Marshall press. Ingram right up on Boone as Boone gets around her now. Key, left foot, or left hand. Kentucky gets the rebound though. Kentucky active on the boards, down inside for Strack. She fumbles it out of bounds.
That control chaos defense from Marshall right there. Some errant passing. And again, Strack just unable to handle that. Let's go out of play.
And talking with Kenny Brooks about this Marshall team, said they like to muddy it up. This is a Marshall team that plays very similar to what Kim Caldwell still does at Tennessee. And he said, when we play in the out-of-conference, we want to play teams that are also going to prepare us for in-conference play. And that's what Marshall does in comparison with Tennessee. Chesterfield tries to go up with the shot and just loses the basketball. And it's going to go off Kentucky as the near side official, Deanna Jackson, wasn't sure. And the baseline official, Demoya Pugh, awarded the basketball to Marshall. Leocha Marigny will check back in for Nakia Chesterfield, as Amelia Hassett will also come in for Clara Strack.
Go from 6'5" to 6'4", my goodness.
Yeah, incredible size for this Kentucky team. As the Wildcats on the year just dominate the boards. Plus 10 on the boards against its opponents. King backing down, trying to get position, goes up and under and off the glass and in. King going up the 6'4" Hassett with some post moves is able to trim the lead down to 6. Down inside, Key on the block against Marigny, up and in. Good power dribble that time by Tiani Key. And the Cary, North Carolina native, a town Marshall fans are familiar with, is able to push the lead back out to 8. We're at the identical score right now so far in the second quarter we had in the first. 20 to 12 is our total now as Marshall tries to throw it down inside off the mitts of Marigny. And that'll bring us to a break in the action. 4:38 to play in the first half of action. Kentucky leads Marshall 20 to 12. We'll be back with more women's basketball on ESPN+. Back at the Cam Henderson Center, Bobby Innings joined alongside by Ben Westfall. Get a look at the Marshall head coach, Julie Falks. Talked with her yesterday, of course, or excuse me, a couple days ago, of course, coached at Transylvania, which is in the shadows of the University of Kentucky. And I said, hey, how much did you hear about Kentucky all the time when you were, she said, look, she said, I couldn't escape it. I grew up in Big Ten country, never adopted SEC country because I probably would have been disowned. Talked about the amount of people she had coming to this game just because of her Lexington family connections. She said, hey, we're gonna have them in green, but she said, I could never totally adopt SEC country. Played at Capital University right around Columbus. She says, couldn't do it. Big Ten country was where I was from. Kentucky across midcourt quickly. You see the ball handling a Key at 6'5". As the Wildcats, just with an easy press break, not something Marshall's first 3 opponents, Buffalo, Northern Kentucky, and Indiana, have been able to do. Is that time Tony Morgan just gets in the paint, easy jump shot. And she gets her first field goal of this one. She got 2 points going with a rebound and 3 dimes as well. Top of the key, Ariana Redmond, who just came in for Marshall. Hurd works on the right wing, looking for Ingram, and Hurd throws it away. It'll be a turnover on Marshall. That's number 9 on the Hurd.
Again, Kentucky is shutting down those lanes very quickly, not allowing anything, and it's just causing that distress for Marshall passing-wise.
Marshall going with a smaller lineup now with Ilderton at 5'7", Ingram at 5'11", Redmond at 5'10", King 5'9", and the freshman Olsen at 5'10". Kentucky around the perimeter, great ball movement for the Wildcats down inside. Tries to lay it off, and Ingram picks off an errant pass. Ingram dribbling down the floor, tries to go up with the layup and gets fouled on the drive by Lexi Blue, who just came in. And Ingram will earn herself a trip to the free throw line.
You can see the Marshall strategy a little bit, try to drive inside and force those fouls, but Kentucky's just played clean, disciplined basketball, so that's gonna be a little bit troublesome. Good job by Cassie Ingram to force that foul on Lexi Blue. But again, gotta look to the outside a little bit. Try to look around the perimeter, see if you can find something open, but Marshall at the free throw line right now, Cassie Ingram.
Up and in. 3 for 3 now from the free throw line on the year. Came into this one averaging 7 points per game. Take a look again as Ingram just kind of got it, took off down the floor. Puts in the second as well. As Marshall gets it back to single digits at 8. If you're the Hurd right now, you want to go into the half right around that single digit number, Ben. Ingram bumps Obi that time. She'll pick up the foul.
Hey, you want to go to that single digit. You don't want Kentucky, a ranked Kentucky team, to slip away a little bit and let that lead expand, because it just gives the Wildcats a lot more momentum growing into that halftime lead. Try to chip in. Try to see what you can do here.
Left wing, Lexi Blue lets it fly and finds nothing with that. Blue, a 46% three-point shooter coming into this one. She was the highest ranked incoming freshman at the time of her signing when she signed with the Wildcats. Olsen dribbles in and draws a foul on Strack. Nearly a walk that time on Olsen, but Strack on the bump is what caused her to nearly walk. Heard of the substitution. Ariana Redmond checks out. Meredith Mayer checks back in.
That's just Clara Strack's first foul as well.
Lewis Uti inbounds to Mayer, just kind of a rough pass, and wasn't able to get an open shot. And a foul's called as Mayer was trying to pick it back up, and Marshall inbounded again. A better pass there on that right block, and Mayer goes up strong. Take a look as Mayer trying to get there, and right there is where Hassett picks up the foul. Olsen on the inbound now for Marshall, gets a right wing for Lewis Uti. Lewis Uti down inside Olsen. Olsen had posted up on Boone and then met Clara Strack as Strack denied, and on the loose ball, last touched by the black-clad Wildcats. Marshall's got to find something offensively. Kentucky's made its last 3 shots. Burgess 5 for 19 from the floor thus far, 26%.
No field goals in the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds for the Thundering Herd as well.
7 on the shot clock now for Marshall. Ingram, good drive inside, leaves it off for King, and Ingram's gonna get called for the charge. Asia Boone stepped up and got in the way of Cassie Ingram, as Cassie Ingram picks up her second foul. 25-14, Wildcats with the 11-point lead.
See the feet moving a little bit, but when you see that shoulder go down for Cassie Ingram, a lot of times the ref will blow the whistle on the charge.
Kentucky, easy press break. Hassett, right point 3 is up and in. And Julie Fulks wants a timeout. Kentucky has pushed it out to its largest lead, 32-14, 28-14. Somebody got a little ahead of themselves on the scoreboard here, as Kentucky just continues to push the lead out. We mentioned earlier it's the first time that these two teams have played since 2020. But these sides have met quite a few times throughout its history. Kentucky leads the all-time series 15-2 against Marshall. The series started back in 1972. UK also 5-2 against Marshall and Huntington. Last time these two teams played here was a 73-55 win for the Wildcats. As obviously just being just 2 hours west of Huntington, I will say, not the most, it's a very beautiful drive.
Yeah.
It's not a very interesting drive at times.
An open field.
Top of the key, Mayer puts up the 3, rattles out. That was Mayer's second shot attempt, first 3 attempt of the game. Morgan up the floor, keeps control, into the right corner, Blue, up, rolls around and out. Can't give Lexi Blue an open look like that. Nearly a 50% three-point shooter. Lewis Uti, Euro step on the way to the bucket, goes up and misses the layup. Blessing King crashes into the back of Clara Strack. And a foul will be called on Blessing King. That'll be number 1 on her. And it'll send Kentucky to the free throw line for the last minute 57 of this quarter.
Again, what's really troubling Marshall right now, 5 of 21 for the field, 1 of 5 from three-point land, which is kind of unusual for this Thundering Herd team. Likes to fire away from the three-point line, just hasn't had an open look.
Strack goes to the line and sinks the first. And Kentucky, after struggling in the first quarter, both teams did, shooting just 18% in the first quarter. In the second quarter, shooting a whole lot better, shooting 58% from the floor. Loose ball in the near side corner. Ingram tries to run it down along with Hassett. And it goes off of Ingram out of bounds, and it'll be a Kentucky basketball on the near side.
But the players try to run it down. A smart heads-up play by Amelia Hassett just to tap that ball off Cassie Ingram. So the Wildcats get those free throw opportunities, excuse me, and then you get the ball back.
7-0 run for Kentucky over the last 90 seconds. I mentioned Marshall got it down to single digits. Long 3 off the back rim. Just the long length of Hassett comes away with the board, and then Mayer takes it away from her. Olsen right wing for Marshall, the freshman in this one, only with 3 points. 1 of 6 from the field thus far. 13 points per game on the year. Ilderton, step back three is good. Ilderton's first bucket of the game. And Kentucky easily breaking the Marshall press again. Morgan all the way coast to coast. Marshall pokes it away, but into the hands of Hassett. Strack at the foul line, now towards the right corner now for Tony Morgan. Morgan jab step, throws it down inside Strack. Strack being held by King. No continuation, as Blessing King will pick up the foul, her second, and it'll send Clara Strack back to the line.
I actually think they got Meredith Mayer before anything on a little smack on the wrist as Strack was driving down the baseline.
Indeed, they did.
By the way, Kentucky in the bonus, Strack to the free throw line.
Strack puts it up and rolls it home. Shooter's touch. Strack with 8 to go along with 7 rebounds right now. 31-17, Kentucky with the lead. 1 minute to play here in the first quarter of action. All tried to get down inside. Marshall was looking inside for King. King gets fouled by Strack. Marshall inbound. From its perspective, to the right of its own basket is where Peyton Ilderton will stand. Ilderton slaps the ball, motions everyone into play. Trying to get it inbounds and throws it into the corner for Olsen, but couldn't get it in time, and a 5-second call on Marshall. Pretty good contingent of Wildcat fans in attendance, obviously with the neighboring states. We were guessing, what, about 70-30, 75-25 Marshall fans in attendance, but still a very good contingent of that Kentucky blue.
Again, you look at the state of Kentucky, a lot of it's either Kentucky or Louisville, so.
Ooh, you're red, and we're not talking politics. Down inside, wide open, down on the block was Obi, as she had snuck behind the Marshall defense along the baseline. And Kentucky pushes the lead out to 16 now.
Just a good look because Blessing King was guarding the Kentucky player at the free throw line, and Obi just sneaks behind. She's wide open underneath the basket.
12 on the shot clock now. Marshall holding for a late shot within the shot clock, and then King working for position inside, gets fouled by Key, and that'll send Blessing King to the free throw line, as that's 5 now on the Wildcats.
And a big thing to look at too, Clara Strack on the bench right now with 2 fouls. It's Key's second foul as well. If you're Marshall, drill big right now, but if you could get those bigs in foul trouble and just get them out of the game, makes the chances a little bit easier.
King will go to the line, leading Marshall in points in this one, 4 already. Transfer from Morehead State, originally from Columbus, Ohio. First free throw up and rolls off the front iron. It's just a 50% free throw shooter coming into this one and misses both. Kentucky gets the board, 15 seconds to go in the first half. Gets it in the hands of the trusty senior point guard from Tallahassee. Tony Morgan with 8 now. Morgan top of the key. Hassett open 3, launches and banks it home. And that'll be the end of the first half. Amelia Hassett hangs in a 3 to end the half. Kentucky closes the half on a 14-3 run. Marshall had trimmed it down to 8 men. But from there, Kentucky, with that quick run, is able to take this commanding 19-point lead as they head towards the halftime play. We're going to talk real quick with Kenny Brooks in just a moment. Riley Burnett's going to be joined with him just to get a feel from the first half from the Kentucky head coach. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to send it over to the third member of our broadcast crew, Riley Burnett, who's joined alongside by Kentucky head coach Kenny Brooks.
Thanks, guys. Coach, a lot of pressure from that Marshall team in the first half, obviously dropping into the 2-3 zone down here. So what's really the key to breaking that?
Well, we knew they were going to be aggressive and physical. But you really can't tell how aggressive and physical it's going to be until you actually go against it. So I thought we really gathered ourselves after that first quarter, settled in and learned how to attack it. We still got to be strong with the basketball, but at least now we know what the feeling's going to be like.
Your team does such a good job of forcing turnovers. In fact, forcing 11 in that first half. So what's the message to be able to come out and do more of the same here in the second?
We've done a much better job this game in communication, switching, talking about the scout. We got to keep it going. They're a very physical basketball team. They like to play down the hill, and we have to be ready for that, be prepared, because they're not going away.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you, Riley. Thank you, Coach Brooks. We're going to step aside. We'll go to break. Here from the Cam Henderson Center, Kentucky leads Marshall 36-17 at the half. We'll be back with more Marshall women's basketball on ESPN+.
Here in the Cam Henderson Center, I was able to talk to Marshall head coach Jolie Fox coming out of halftime. The main thing she touched on was being disciplined on the fouls. Marshall trying to limit fouls throughout the second half, also limiting turnovers. They had 11 there in the first half. As far as defense goes, Jolie Fox likes the meta 2-3 zone that this team is known for running. They've thrown Kentucky off as far as their tempo on the offensive end. Of course, a late bank in three hurts the momentum for Marshall a little bit, but nevertheless, a chance for new life here in the second half.
Thank you, Riley. Get all of ESPN college basketball all in one place with the all-new ESPN app. Unlock with ESPN Unlimited plan or log in with your TV provider. Attendance today, we mentioned some Kentucky fans making the trip, 3,040 here at the Cam Henderson Center. Expecting right around the same amount for tomorrow. The Marshall men's soccer team in the Sun Belt Conference championship match against the University of Central Florida. The Knights coming over from Lexington, beating Kentucky on Wednesday night. Marshall beating West Virginia. You can catch that right here on ESPN+, 1 o'clock tomorrow. As again, probably more than 3,000 people in attendance for that one as well. Tickets sold out in just 9 minutes yesterday, Ben.
It's going to be a fun one tomorrow. And again, those two teams coming off excellent victories. Had the chance to go up there to Morgantown for that Marshall win against West Virginia. Electric atmosphere up there. Morgantown, UCF. Great 1-0 win over Kentucky as well. Should be a fun one tomorrow.
Both of us will be there tomorrow. Again, 1 o'clock tomorrow. Marshall and the UCF Knights for the automatic trip into the NCAA tournament in men's soccer. Back here in Huntington. Third quarter underway between Marshall and Kentucky. Wildcats number 23 in the country. Fadeaway jump shot and just a smooth touch for Jordan Obie as she rolls it home.
What a great start for Kentucky. I mean, it's that passing back and forth from around the free throw line out to the perimeter, then back and forth, just opening up that shot selection. Great job by Kentucky.
Lewis Utsi on the drive down the right block. Goes up strong with the right hand, fouled on the drive, and she'll head to the free throw line. She gets fouled on the drive, I think, by Obie, I think. Yep. Waiting for the official rule. Jordan Obie, again, is exactly who got her. Lewis Utsi goes to the line, 1 for 2 from there in this one. And it's off the right iron. And she'll get another try. Lewis Utsi with 3 points in this one, came into the game averaging a 10 on the year. Second attempt up and good. 4 points now for the transfer from Virginia Commonwealth. She came into this one tied for 10th in the NCAA in steals. Down inside goes Strack, and Strack, you can tell the veteran presence, just 19 as a third-year college player, but she gets tremendous position inside, forces the foul on Marshall. You take a look and just gets inside of Trayshandra Williams that time, draws the foul, and she'll go back to the line. Strack was 3 for 4 from the line in the first half and rolls in the first.
Yeah, it's that big body. When you have that 6'5" frame and wide wingspan, you're able to just muscle your way down inside the basket.
Second win is good as well. Largest lead of the game now for Kentucky at 22. Lewis Hoopsie across midcourt for Marshall, goes right around a screen from Williams. You talked about that three-point line for Marshall. The Herd's trying to look to that three-point line, but tries to throw it inside for Williams and turns it over. Loose ball picked up by Jordan Obi, and a foul will be called in the corner. Lewis Hoopsie that time just trying to get the ball away. A little bit of a frustration foul from the Herd.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a battle for the basketball, and Lewis Hoopsie, a little bit too much contact there.
Kentucky, great press breaker. Jordan Obi across midcourt now and nearly had it taken away, but Strack runs it down for the Wildcats. Tries to throw it inside, but throws it away. Ilderton will get credit for the steal now for Marshall. Right wing, Olsen. Olsen has the three blocked. And Kentucky now quick the other way. Look at Strack run the floor, 6'5", but handling the basketball all the way across in about 3 strides. Dribble drive inside by Morgan. And a foul's gonna be called on the floor inside. Chandra Williams will pick it up. That's her 4th.
That's a huge loss for Marshall right there. Chandra Williams, 6'2".
At times last season, Marshall didn't have a ton of healthy bodies, just about 7 or 8 healthy bodies at times through the last season. Julie Falk said, hey, we've got 11 healthy, capable bodies that have played a lot of minutes for us thus far this season. To be down one with 4 fouls, minute and a half into the 3rd quarter is big for Marshall. Kentucky hammering the offensive boards right now. Right wing, 3 is good. Hassett, 37% three-point shooter coming into the game today, and she drills it. (43-18), Kentucky with the lead. 25-point lead for the Wildcats. Left corner 3 for Ilderton, rattles out. Marshall just has not been able to find the touch from anywhere on the floor. Herd shooting just 26%. On the baseline, Key working it back on the right wing. Obi, she'll take an open 3 as well. And Kentucky, 6 for 17 from the three-point line, and the Wildcats are fired up. 46-18, Kentucky with the lead all of a sudden, as the Wildcats have outscored Marshall 10-1 to start the 3rd quarter. 46-18 our tally here in Huntington. We'll be back with more on ESPN+. get a look at some of the Kentucky Wildcats fans that have made the trip here to Huntington. As the Wildcats lead 46-18 over Marshall. You look at the impressive standings for the SEC, just 2 teams with a single loss, that being the Oklahoma Sooners and Tennessee. Of course, Kim Caldwell at the helm for Tennessee. That's a top 25 loss for Tennessee as well. And of course, Oklahoma new to the SEC in the last few years. Just the incredible record across the entire SEC continues to be present. Music continues to play, and the officials will stop the clock as Demoya Pugh heard the same thing, the YMCA, and now the officials will stop the clock while the music was playing.
I guess they stopped having fun at the YMCA.
7:42 to play in the third quarter. Marshall trailing by 28, Kentucky's largest lead. Again, Marshall had trimmed it to 22-14. Since then, Kentucky on a 24-4 run. Olsen gets inside, left-handed, rolls around and off, and a foul's going to be called on the rebound attempt, I believe, on Nakia Chesterfield. Yeah, Nakia Chesterfield will pick up the foul for Marshall. That'll be her first.
Just a little too aggressive getting to the basket, trying to get that offensive board. Body goes down for the Wildcats, and easy whistle for the officials.
Marshall at one point was within about 5 boards of Kentucky. Now the Wildcats plus 16, 30-14 on the rebounds. Left corner, Obi. Obi throws it into the elbow, and it's taken away by Marshall. Good defense, quick hands by the Herd. 10th turnover for Kentucky. Left wing, Lewis Utsi tries to get inside on the drive. She gets cut off by Key, but Key will be called for the foul. It'll be her third.
That's big right there. Third foul on Gianni Key, 6'5". Looks like they're going to leave her in right now for Kentucky.
Kentucky, no stranger to large leads, led by 62 at one point against USC Upstate on Wednesday. Marshall gets it inside for Chesterfield. Chesterfield still has the pivot foot. Backing down on Strack, right hand, up and off the glass and in. First bucket for Nakia Chesterfield. And Marshall gets its first field goal of the third quarter. 46-20, Kentucky with the lead.
Good look from Chesterfield as well. It goes underneath Strack. That's sometimes what you got to do against those big bodies. Just go underneath them. That's a good look.
Kentucky runs down the rebound now to the Wildcats. Tony Morgan, a couple dribbles on the left wing. Marshall in that 2-3 meta zone. Right wing, Strack. Strack swings it to the left side for Hassett. Nearly throws it away. 2 on the shot clock. Morgan, 3, top of the key, off the back rim, no good. Lewis Utsi runs down the board for Marshall. Herd runs the floor. Ilderton's open in the left corner, but Lewis Utsi all the way to the bucket, lays it up and in. Quick 4-0 spurt from the Herd, trims the lead down to 24 for Kentucky. Kentucky, you got to give him credit, Ben, has done a tremendous job of breaking this Marshall press today. Strack throws it up and misses everything. I think it got the backside of their backboard, and then as Marshall moves it down the floor, Lewis Utsi gets fouled by Morgan. Morgan going for the steal. And a foul will be called on Tony Morgan. That'll be her second.
Looks like Kentucky will take Tiana Key out with 3 fouls, but you talk about Kentucky doing a great job of breaking that press. I mean, head coach Kenny Brooks saw it 2 years ago against Marshall with Kim Caldwell at the helm, and he said it's a very similar style of play. That press is very similar between Julie Folks and Kim Caldwell. Marshall's done a great job playing it, but Kentucky has done a great job breaking it.
Kicked ball by Strack, and Marshall gets it back now. Lewis Utsi picks up her dribble, doesn't have anywhere to go with it. Gets it off to Meredith Mayer. Mayer inside, wild dribble, runs down her own loose ball. Lewis Utsi now inside, on the drive, puts it up, rolls into the hands of Strack. She didn't have to jump for the rebound that time. Ball down inside, Obi up and under, can't get it to go. Marshall quickly the other way now, doesn't quite have numbers. Lewis Utsi tries to lull him to sleep, down inside to Chesterfield, who goes up and in, but a foul's gonna be called before the bucket, as Hassett will be called on the baseline. Marshall's got to take advantage right now. No points for Kentucky.
It's only third quarter as well, 5:07 left to go, so plenty of time to try. If you're Marshall, Again, those little miscommunication plays, those miscues from Kentucky, got to take advantage, find some points.
Timberland East, who just checked in, drives inside, tries to go up strong. And just the tall trees inside, the triplets, or the Venus flytrap, as Kenny Brooks says. Not allowing her to get a good look. Hassett steps around, a flying defender, now gets it back again, puts it up twice off the iron, and Kentucky gets the board. Wildcats plus 19 on the glass in this one. And Marshall takes it away. Tried to throw it inside, Meredith Mayer gets the ball. Now Yeast all the way running the floor for Marshall. Off the glass and in. 6-0 run for the Thundering Herd. Kentucky just 2 for its last 10 from the floor. The helter-skelter defense for Marshall creating some problems for Kentucky, but also the Wildcats just not able to find the bottom of the barrel, or the bottom of the net, and now they do. Clara Strack, simple jump shot from the 6'5" junior from Buffalo. She's got 13 to go along with 9 rebounds now.
Just had a couple of those open looks right there for the free throw line.
Marshall on the right wing. Lewis Utzier goes left around a screen, and Marigny's going to get called for her second illegal screen. That'll take us to a break in the action. Kentucky doubling up Marshall right now, 48-24, but the Herd on a quick 6-2 run just to try and trim this Kentucky lead. We'll head to the break. We'll come back with more on ESPN+. Marshall, 3:47 to go in the third quarter of action here at the Cam Henderson Center in Huntington. Bobby Iddings joined alongside by Ben Westfall. Marshall back in action on Tuesday as the Herd plays Salem. Salem coached by the former head coach for Meredith Mayer in high school. As we'll see that matchup coming up on Tuesday. Sun Belt standings, you take a look, only a couple teams are still undefeated. Southern Miss, Troy, and ULM. See a couple different teams with 1 loss. As the Sun Belt Conference schedule will get underway in just about a month, as they started a lot earlier than probably what a lot of people are used to. Used to start after the new year. Now it's going to start way about 2 weeks before the new year. Kentucky with the basketball. We talked about Morgan, 16 assists in that USC Upstate game as she throws it inside for Carroll. That's assist number 10 in this one for Tony Morgan.
Facilitator of the ball, finds the open lanes, finds the open spots, good passing. You want somebody to break the press, she's one of the keys to it.
Blessing King backing down, trying to find an open area. And basically, it looks like the chair got pulled out from under her. They're going to call a foul. Just had the knee right into the back of Blessing King. Did Tiani Key, and she'll get whistled for the foul. That'll be foul number 4 on Tiani Key, and it'll send Blessing King to the free throw line.
Now goes Tiani Key, and comes Clara Strack.
Just height for height. 6'5" Strack comes in for the 6'5" Key. Kenny Brooks having some contention with the scorers table.
I think they just announced her 5th foul, but
announced as number 5. Is that what it was announced as?
I think so. I think it was.
And I think they're correcting. Yeah, they said on the scoreboard it was 5. That's actually 4 on Key. And that's exactly what the official scores on the far side have. He was just clarifying. Team's 5th foul.
There we go.
Player personal 4. King at the line, puts it up, and it rolls off. Marshall from the foul line today, just 4 for 9. Next one up and rolls around and off. Heard 4 of 10 from the free throw line today, just adding to the Marshall shooting woes in this one. This is a Kentucky defense allowing Marshall just 29% shooting. 26 out of 35 opponents Kenny Brooks has faced at Kentucky. He is not allowed to shoot over 40%. As a matter of fact, Kentucky hasn't allowed a single team to shoot over 40% this season. Hassett on the right wing as she runs down the rebound, and they didn't reset the shot clock. Shot clock was not reset, and the officials will blow it dead to have that done.
Allows Marshall to sub in Olivia Olson as well. Looks like Thundering Herd will go with a little bit of smaller lineup, with Marigny going to the bench.
50-24 Kentucky advantage right now. 2:37 on the game clock. Down to 12 now on the shot clock. Carroll on the right elbow kicks it out. Kentucky all the way in the left corner for Boone. Boone high, arching three. Rebound contended for. It goes off of the Wildcats. It'll be Marshall basketball.
I think Hassett was trying to say that Timberland Yeast got a little bit of a last-second deflection off that. Wasn't going to win that one.
That's exactly what the Kentucky bench was arguing as well.
Perhaps a little lucky break for Marshall here.
Hilderton tries to move right around a screen. Didn't really create any space that time, and now Olson moves left around a screen. Olson down inside, gets in there to the left block, and a foul's going to be called down inside. As I think Deanna Jackson was the one that called the bump on the Kentucky player inside, and I think if you don't get that bump, that's nearly a walk. Yeah, there's the bump. The bump, I think, contributed to the travel. Near side official Demoya Pugh wanted to call a travel, and that's exactly what the Kentucky bench wanted as well.
I think it was on Kaylin Carroll, the freshman forward.
Now send Olson to the free throw line. 3 for 3, 100% from the line this year. And she knocks down the first one. 4 points now for the freshman from New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Of course, won the 5A state title in Florida last season. She got 4 points in this one, make it 5. .24 advantage for Kentucky. As the Wildcats, top 25 program, turn it over now. Marshall on the other end. Ingram right wing, three ball up and off the front rim, but Olson gets the board for the Herd. Tries to go down inside for Mayer, too tall for her. And it'll be a turnover on Marshall. That's 14 now on the Herd.
I think that'd be an accurate pass for a player like Clara Strack, but not for Mayer to Mayer.
Under 2 minutes to play in the third quarter. Kentucky with the 24-point lead. Right elbow backing down, and Kentucky turns it over. That's 14 now for Kentucky as well. Ingram into the lane, tries to go up with a wild shot, throws it off the bottom of the backboard. Two wild possessions for Marshall. Kentucky the other direction. Obi into the body of King. Draws the foul, and that'll be foul number 2 on Blessing King.
Bobby, I mean, what great transition defense for Kentucky. You allow that turnover to happen, and I mean, those Wildcats just get straight back, and Marshall thought about maybe having a good lane with Cassie Ingram, but again, that closeout, that transition defense has not allowed Marshall to take any sort of advantage off those turnovers.
To the free throw line goes Obi, just a 64% free throw shooter coming into this one, but she sinks the first. It's a Marshall team that came into today one of the better teams at field goal defense, excuse me. Herd allowing just teams to shoot just 36% against it this year. Kentucky really in pace with that. 35% in this one. Marshall was only averaging, giving up 49.7 on the year. Kentucky already at 51. 51-26, Kentucky with the lead. Morgan fights through a Blessing King screen. That's part of the impressive defense for Kentucky, just the fighting through the screen. Yeast, a couple times on the pivot foot, drops it off to Ingram on the baseline. Mayer, baseline jump shot, misses everything. Shot clock will not reset. King on the board, goes up strong, tries to bank it in, and it falls off the front. Under a minute to play now in the third quarter. Wildcats around the perimeter, and then Marshall takes it away. Marshall forcing 15 turnovers in this one against Kentucky. Right wing Ingram, open three, puts it up short. Both of her threes in this one have just been short off the front rim. 13-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. And Kentucky will hold temporarily. Tony Morgan dribbling the basketball, the transfer from Georgia Tech. Kentucky rotates it around now back into the hands of Morgan. Inside the paint, nearly walked with it, tries to pass it out. kicked ball now. Redmond's going to try and run it down, and will for Marshall. Now 14. Hurd on the possession now. Ariana Redmond, top of the key, down inside King. King backing down Morgan, goes up, gets fouled as she goes up strong. And that'll send Blessing King to the free throw line. Kentucky coaching staff wanted a 3 seconds call, and to be blunt, King kind of did camp out in the lane that time, trying to get positioning on Morgan.
We'll say that it looks like it's going to be the third foul on Tony Morgan as well. So these Wildcats getting a little bit into foul trouble. That's what Marshall's probably goal was, is to get those Wildcats in foul trouble, get some of those tall players out of the lineup a little bit.
King to the line, puts up the first and in. She was 0 for 4 from the line in this one. She gets the first free throw to go for herself. 5 points now for the senior from Columbus. Next one's off. Lewis Utsi comes down with the board though for Marshall. Utsi puts up a foul line shot, and it rolls around and out. Lewis Utsi tried for the buzzer beater to finish the third quarter. Couldn't quite get it to fall. Marshall trails by 25, 52-27. Kentucky, the 23rd ranked Wildcats, looking to continue to a 5-0 start here on ESPN+. Back inside the Cam Henderson Center, Bobby Iddings joined alongside by Ben Westfall. You get a look at what used to be Turner Field, that's how I know it affectionately, down in Atlanta, Georgia. Marshall football in action, tied with the Georgia State Panthers, 7-7. Georgia State with an early 92-yard touchdown. Marshall combating that with a touchdown run for Michael Allen. As Thundering Herd trying to get bowl eligible, 4-5 on the year. A lot of close losses for that Marshall team, just trying to get back to 5-5, and then finishing out the year with Appalachian State and Georgia Southern. Marshall men's basketball also in action today. Fell to the University of Virginia, 104-78 down in Charlottesville. Here in Huntington, the Marshall women's basketball team just trying to trim into this Kentucky lead. The Wildcats 23rd in the country. Marshall trailing by 25. Top of the key, Marigny. Hurd trying to find a cutter now, and it will be Ilderton top of the key. Ilderton inside, goes up with a layup, and rolls around and out as Ilderton goes down hard behind the play. Kentucky now back on offense as the Wildcats try to build this lead, shooting 35% from the floor in this one, but the Wildcats have turned it over 16 times against this Marshall side. Marshall averaging nearly 25 turnovers forced per game. This is one of the best assist-to-turnover teams in the country. Top of the key, wide open was Blue, and the ball rolls off. Shot clock should have reset, and some of the operations having some issues today as the shot clock should have been reset, and I think obviously the shot clock goes off, but on the rebound they're going to say it went off of Kentucky, and it
perhaps
should be Marshall basketball anyway.
I'm about to say perhaps maybe, because if it hits the rim, then the shot clock will reset.
Shot clock should have reset. Yeah, the Kentucky staff has a right to be a little bit upset. The shot clock should have reset, absolutely. But I think with the original, just the ruling is from our officials, is that the ball would have gone out off of Kentucky anyway, even if the shot clock did reset. Yeah, it's definitely off the iron. But they're saying right here, the ball goes off Kentucky. That, to be honest, should have been off Marshall.
Lucky break for the Thundering Herd, I guess.
Down inside goes Lewis Utsi, up strong. Gets denied on the drive. Jordan Obi, frustration that time. Clara Strack, good leadership, comes over, just kind of gets her out of there, and Lewis Utsi will go to the line.
I can tell a little bit of the frustration with the Wildcats. Don't have a play go your way. Ball goes out of bounds. And you get the foul call right there.
So I'll send Tamaya Lewis Utsi to the line. Puts up the first one. And it falls in. Give Lewis Utsi credit. She's now 3 for 5 from the line. She airballed the first one. She's 3 for 4 cents. Make that 4 for 5 cents.
Yeah. Good bounce back.
8 points now for Tamaya Lewis Utsi. 52-29, Kentucky with the lead. Right wing Morgan. She dribbles down inside. Playing with 3 fouls is Morgan. Kentucky swings it all the way to the right side. Obi gets inside, going up against Williams. Williams with 4 fouls. And ball comes down, and then Redmond gets called for the foul, trying to swipe it away from Jordan Obi. Ariana Redmond, her 6th year of eligibility for Marshall. 86 career games. She's only started 1 game in her career, but she's instrumental just for leadership for this Marshall team. Obi's free throw is up. And I believe, in the words of Rasheed Wallace for that one, because Marshall fans agreed with that call, ball don't lie. Second one, swirls around and in.
Partially lie.
53-29 now our score. Kentucky with the advantage over Marshall. Kentucky averaging 88 points per game this season. Unless something wild happens, not going to quite get to that mark in this one. But the Wildcats defensively, just with the height that they possess, extremely successful in this one. Lewis Utsi pulls down the board now for Marshall. Hurd comes quickly the other direction. Lewis Utsi tries to dribble baseline. Good job defending. Trishandra Williams will take the 3 for Marshall off the back iron and off the board. And the Hurd runs down the rebound. Olsen tries to throw it inside. Kicked ball off of a Kentucky player. And it'll be Marshall ball along the baseline.
You don't hate that 3 from Trishandra Williams. Had a couple against Indiana. Don't really expect the big to shoot and fire away from 3-point land.
In talking with Kenny Brooks, he said, look, our entire program is about player development. We're going to take a 4, we're going to turn him into a 3. May take a 3, turn him into a 2, and that's just where you get the height that you see from this team that ends up playing probably bigger positions or different positions than you're normally used to seeing. Ilderton crashes in that time to try and get to a loose ball, and she'll get called for her 3rd foul. Just what Kentucky does. Kenny Brooks admitted, he said, we may not get the most athletic, the most skilled player at times. What we're going to do is we're going to get the longest in terms of their length, in terms of what they're able to do defensively, and we're going to let them create havoc. That's why you get to see a Jordan Obi who's 6'1" playing the guard. Maybe she was a 2 or a 3 or a 4 in high school. She comes to Kentucky, they turn her into a 2. And all of a sudden, she's a really effective player for this Wildcat team. Turned over now by Kentucky. 17 turnovers now. Mayer, left wing, rolls off. A fight for the rebound inside. It's tipped away by Kentucky. And Marshall will get the dead ball rebound.
I think it's the first time all day today that Kentucky had trouble breaking through the press.
Ilderton smacks the ball, motions it into play, into Redmond. Redmond down inside for Williams. Williams backing down on Strack. Williams up strong and in, plus the foul. Trishandra Williams' first bucket of the day, and that garners the 3rd foul on Strack, and she'll go to the line.
That's what you got to do sometimes when you're down there underneath the basket. Just that tough physical play. Create your own separation and allow yourself to have an open shot.
Williams at the line, up and in. Trishandra Williams, a perfect 3 for 3 from the line this year. One important fact is now Jordan Obi lowers the shoulder into Peyton Ilderton. Kenny Brooks didn't quite agree with it, and he continues to contest the call along the Kentucky sideline.
Got to be careful as well, because he immediately grabbed the basketball on the floor. Don't want to get yourself teed up.
Remember, the equipment staff will come out. Just a quick mop job, clean it up. See Kenny Brooks continue to talk to Demoya Pugh. Again, we mentioned it in the first half. Kenny Brooks, just an incredibly successful coach. He's made the WNIT or the NCAA tournament every season since 2005, 2006 at James Madison. Marshall around the perimeter. Hurd trying to trim it under 20 now. Ingram into the keyhole on the drive, up and lays it in. But she's going to get called, I think, Yeah, she's going to get called for the hook. Use that left hand to clear out some space. And that'll be foul number 3 on Cassie Ingram.
So tough when you're a little bit of a smaller player. You try to go low to get that leverage. Sometimes you hook your arm.
Olivia Olson checks back in for Meredith Mayer. Mayer without a point yet today.
Marshall's got to be careful as well with Trishanja Williams out there. 4 fouls.
Jordan Obi quickly going to have to, looks like maybe some blood on the right leg. Yeah, the training staff going to go to work quickly on her. Talked a little bit about Kenny Brooks. He just exited the left of your screen there. Just 1 losing season in 24 years as a head coach. You compare that on the other side with Julie Falks, who's also just been incredibly successful. You combine the 2 of these coaches in terms of wins, 961 wins in the careers of these 2 coaches. Of course, Marshall will play a game actually at Transylvania University in the month of December. Corner 3 from Asia Boone pushes the Kentucky lead back out to 24. 56-32, 6:35 to go in the contest. Kentucky with a commanding lead over the Thundering Herd as you get a look at Boone hitting the 3 from the corner. Get a look at Amelia Hassett, the 6'2" senior from New South Wales, Australia. 9 points in this one, all of them coming from 3-point distance. 13 rebounds, it's the game high for Kentucky and for either side. Marshall nearly turns it over as now Olivia Olson just takes a short jump shot and airballs it. Olson struggling today, just 1 for 9 from the floor for Marshall. Coast to coast goes Boone, and Olson tries to come down with the rebound, taps it out, and it'll continue to be Kentucky basketball. As Meredith Mayer will check back in for Olivia Olson. Olivia Olson, a huge future for this Marshall team. Talked with Julie Falks, said, did you know she was going to be this good and this talented? She said, yeah, we had a pretty good feeling. She said, I identified her early on as a player that I thought could play our style. Inside goes Toni Morgan as she's up and puts it off the glass and good. Morgan now in this one with 4 points to go along with her 11 assists. Ingram, the sophomore from Cincy, drives inside. Drops it off at the foul line for Williams. Williams up off the glass and Strack gets fouled from behind. Strack got the rebound, and then Morgan got fouled from behind on the outlet as Cassie Ingram, Ariana Redmond crashed into her. Second foul on Redmond. You take a look, Redmond trying to make a play on the ball, and the shoulder catches the transfer from Georgia Tech. She goes over to help her up quickly. Kentucky across midcourt, now up 58-32. Marshall had trimmed it down to 21, and Kentucky just stiff arms the Herd away. Left wing Boone again, steps around a Marshall defender, and Mayer comes down with the board on Hassett. That's 14 boards now for Hassett in this one. Top of the key, Morgan gets inside. Left corner, Boone again. 3 up and no good. Rebound tapped around right into the hands of Clara Strack. And she's got points 14 and 15 to go along with 13 boards.
It's got to be so frustrating for Marshall. You create those missed shots from around the perimeter. Just cannot come up with the boards, that height.
Down inside, Blessing King goes around Hassett, trying to create some space, and then gets called for the walk. 16 turnovers now on Marshall as the Wildcats are just flexing their muscle right now. 28-point lead for Kentucky, 7-0 run for Big Blue.
Marshall scoring drought in the last 2 minutes and 20 seconds as well.
51-26, Kentucky plus 25 on the boards in this one. 23 offensive rebounds for the Wildcats. Along the baseline, the Wildcats go to work again, and Jordan Obi with the right hand puts it in. Obi's got 17. Again, she was out for the season last year but she was the 7th fastest player ever for Penn to eclipse 1,000 points. And Meredith Mayer, who's going to be contending for 1,000 points in her Marshall career, drains the 3 from the left wing. Marshall ends that quick 7-0 run for the Wildcats now. Stepping around a flying Marshall defender, and Asia Boone knocks in another. Boone's 3rd 3 of this one. She's got 9 points, and the Wildcats 9 for 31 from 3-point range. Boone trying to move around or get through a King screen. Crashes into Blessing King, and the foul will be called on Asia Boone. And that was kind of refreshing. One of the things you never see, Kenny Brooks nodding in agreement with the foul on his own team. You take a look, Boone trying to get through it and just backing down on King. And we didn't get a shot of it, but Kenny Brooks just kind of said, yeah, you're right.
It's one of those, you can't argue with it. Sometimes as a coach, you have to accept it.
Down inside, Blessing King, top of the key, Ingram. Ingram driving inside, kicks left wing. Lewis Utsi, 3 ball rattles off. Marshall from 3-point range today, just 3 for 16. The long-range woes for the Herd continue. Into the paint goes Morgan, jump shot, drops it in.
It's one thing with the 2-3 zone, you're going to have that little soft spot around the free throw line, and Kentucky's been able to have that play work a few times today, mainly with Clara Strack, but this time, nice bucket there for Morgan.
67-35, and you look around the arena, the 6-7 motions going on from some Kentucky fans. What's it mean? Nobody knows, but it's provocative. King driving inside for Marshall, up and lays it in. Great drive by Blessing King, as she's up to 7 points now in this one to go along with 5 rebounds. King, one of the best rebounders on this Marshall team. 67-37, Kentucky with the lead. Right elbow, kicked it out to Boone again, and Boone with her 4th 3 of the game. And Kentucky putting on a long-range clinic right now.
Out of ice the game and put it away. Stay sharp at the 3-point line. Kentucky's really starting to heat things up.
Kentucky 5 for its last 5 from 3-point range. 5 for its last 5 from the field. King backing down on Hassett. King up strong and gets fouled. And she'll head to the line with 2:13 to go in this one.
Right now, if you're Marshall,
hot hands, King.
Yeah, and just try to get some momentum going to that next matchup against Salem. Just try to build on this, work on some opportunities.
Wholesale substitutions for the Wildcats.
I think if you're Marshall as well, you just try to work the perimeter, try to see if you can break this cold streak at the 3-point line and get something going.
Blessing King puts the free throw in. 2 for 7 from the line, 8 points in this one. Next one is up and in as well. So King now the leading scorer for Marshall in this game. She's got 9 points. Mentioned some substitutions coming in for the Wildcats. Josie Gilvin comes in. Transfer from Western Kentucky. She played there with the sister of former Marshall player Aislinn Hayes. She played with Acacia Hayes at Kentucky. Ball up, down inside for Key, and Key just muscles it in. Gilvin, who's just getting her first action in this one, she was an All-Conference USA second-team performer last year. And just comes in the final 2.5 minutes of this one. Tells you how deep this Kentucky side is. Lewis Utsi inside on Blue, and gets down to the block, tries to push it up, but gets fouled on the drive. And Lewis Utsi not a fan that Blessing King took over the team high in points, and she's going to go to the free throw line. Leading scorer in this one, Jordan Obie for Kentucky with 17. Clara Strack with 15, Asia Boone with 12. As Lewis Utsi hits the first free throw. Leading scorers for Marshall. You take a look at Tamaya Lewis Utsi again. As she drives inside, gets fouled on the drive by Blue. Next one rolls out, and rebound taken down by Carroll. Leading scorers for Marshall, Lewis Utsi and Blessing King, both with 9. 72-40 Wildcats with the lead. Asia Boone swings at left wing, Gilvin. Kentucky continues to work it around, now to the left elbow. Top of the key, Boone. Boone thought about number 5 and gets fouled as she starts to drive by Tamaya Lewis-Utsi. That'll be foul number 3 on the Marshall senior.
Foul number 5 on Marshall as well, puts the Wildcats in the bonus for the final minute 14. Both teams in the bonus.
Take a look next up for Kentucky. The Wildcats will play Purdue at home on Tuesday before having to go to Louisville a week from today, and obviously a tremendous matchup there as the Wildcats will take on the Cardinals. Then a trip to Puerto Rico for the Thanksgiving holiday, taking on Maryland and Morgan State down in Puerto Rico before coming back home to open December at Miami. Ball worked around, and a foul will be called.
Meredith Mayer from behind, a little push from behind.
I saw the 2, but I didn't know if it was 23 or 2. Blessing King wasn't in the game. Take a look at that Kentucky upcoming schedule. Of course, the Wildcats have played some out-of-conference games early on in this season. Went to Buffalo a couple weeks ago. That obviously a homecoming for Clara Strack. Now the quote-unquote Power 4 portion of the schedule getting started. 74-40, Marshall trailing Kentucky. Thundering Herd coming up schedule-wise. We talked about it. Salem on Tuesday for Marshall. Of course, that game will be here on ESPN Plus as Peyton Ilderton drives inside and puts it in. The Herd will then face that same USC upstate side. That'll be on Friday as Lewis-Utsi whistled for the foul. IU Indy, which is the former Ooey Pooey, if you really want to get technical with it. And then the Herd, short trip to Morehead State and then at Coppin State to open up December as well. And then again, I'm trying to remember the exact date. I think it's December 15th is when Marshall opens up conference play as well.
17th against Appalachian State.
17th.
Yep.
It was a teen day. We knew that.
11 a.m.
Asia Boone knocks in both free throws. She's now got 14. That's her first points in this one that weren't from beyond the arc. 40 seconds to play. Ilderton moving left around the screen and throws it away.
And you look at this Marshall side, I mean, caused a lot of havoc for this Kentucky Wildcats team today. Marshall's defense played well, but then Kentucky, I mean, you saw just took over the game in the second half, especially in that second quarter, 27 points. Marshall's defense played well, but if the Thundering Herd can fix those woes offensively, it'll be a very stout team. Just got to fix the shooting woes.
Boone into the corner to Gilvin. She'll take a 3, misses off the side of the rim. Down to 22 seconds left. That was Kentucky's first miss in its last 7 attempts. Left around a screen goes Timberland Yeast. Yeast, couple pivot steps, goes up, off the glass, draws the foul, and she'll head to the line.
Nice little push-in style for the final seconds of the game.
Timberland Yeast up to 6 points in this one, and she'll head to the free throw line.
I tell you what, if you're Kentucky, you look at it, head coach Kenny Brooks seems like a master of breaking that press defense. Did a great job today. These Wildcats just breaking through that press. I mean, you saw it against Kim Caldwell in Tennessee last year, against Marshall 2 years ago when Brooks was at Virginia Tech. 5
seconds left to play as the East misses the free throw. And Kentucky will dribble out the clock. The Wildcats will improve to 5-0 on the year as Kentucky drops Marshall to 2-2. 76-44, our final. Leading scorer in this one, Jordan Obi with 17. Clara Strack joins her in double figures with 15. Asia Boone 14, Tiani Key with 10. On the Marshall side, Blessing King and Tamaya Lewis-Utsi with 9. And the story of this one, Ben, and we talked about it early in the first or second quarter, Marshall was keeping pace at times with Kentucky on the boards. But as it turns out, Kentucky goes plus 26 on the boards against the Wildcat, or against Marshall.
Yeah, absolutely, and it just shows the strength of Kentucky and just what they have numbers-wise, the height-wise. We knew that coming in with Clara Strack at 6'5". I mean, Tiana Key 6'5" as well. So the height was going to play a massive advantage, and played out today for the Wildcats.
What we're going to do right now, we're going to kick it over to the third member of our broadcast crew, Riley Burnett.
Coach, you guys were able to stay hot there late in the second half, really finishing that game, playing a full one out, finishing strong, as I mentioned. So what does that mean for you going forward?
It means a lot. You know, it's exactly why we wanted to come here and play this game. We knew it was going to be tough. We knew it was going to be physical. We knew it was going to be challenging. And we didn't shoot the ball exceptionally well, but I thought we handled the pressure. We had a couple of careless turnovers, but it's something that we can work on. And all in all, this is a really good stepping stone for us and who we're trying to be.
So you get 2 days off, then you go back home to play Purdue. What takeaways from this game are you really looking forward to implementing for the future and for that one especially?
Well, I really like to enjoy this one for a couple more minutes, but since you brought it up, you know, Purdue is a Power 4 opponent. They're really good. They're big. We're going to rest a little bit, but we've got to work on some things. We've got a big week next week. As it is, and the competition continues to get stiffer and stiffer. Today was a really good stepping stone. We didn't play particularly well, but I thought we had a really good attitude, and we really attacked a lot of different things.
Enjoy the win, Coach. Thank you.
Attitude, energy, and effort were the things that he said he wanted to enjoy, and that's what Kenny Brooks is able to enjoy after this one. Kentucky picks up the 76-44 win over the Thundering Herd. A lot of thank yous I want to say for this entire broadcast. Big thanks to everybody on cameras today. Grace Atkins, Kylie Dunsel, and if I say your name wrong, I really apologize. Come tell me and I'll help you. Lincoln Thorne and Kaysen Wetzel. Big thanks to our team in the Cam Henderson Center studios. My dad, Stephen Lucas, my brother, Bryce Lusher, Jake Maui, Braden Grost, Aniston Collins, Millie DeBoard, Bella Jones, and Kaylin Twiggs. Also want to say a big thanks to the third member of our broadcast crew, which is Riley Burnett. So, for Ben Westfall, I am Bobby Eddings saying so long from the Cam Henderson Center, where the final score is 76-44 Kentucky.